Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring contemporary Chinese expressions that are newly emerged. 银发力量. So yesterday we talked about 小孩, right? Little kids behaving like adults. Today we're talking about old folks, and just like it's mutually influenced, I guess, or probably from English because we use 银发, silver hair, and force energy, 银发力量. Well, I have to say, this is kind of a lingo in existence in contemporary Chinese that's trying to put a positive spin of the demographic shift in China that's collapsing of, well, one child policy, right? Four becomes two and becomes one. That shape is a deadly demographic diminishing spin. Well, plenty of scholars and social commentators talked about this. So this aging of the population thing had been going on for a while, but very noticeable in recent years. And so in English context, it will be called silver tsunami. Okay, we use natural disaster to describe the impact, potentially damaging impact of this aging population. But in Chinese, we spin it to become a force, to become an energy, as if they are productive member of society. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some silver hair people are still very productive, can be good forces to their community, can volunteer, right, to provide mentorship to younger people, to provide childcare to grandchildren, great grandchildren, extra. But the majority of the part, like I do consumer analysis all the time. Okay, that's my day job. You can see consumption wise, the engine of consumption was diminishing dramatically when it comes to older age folks in all kinds of categories of consumer products or services. So silver hair, Chinese spin it into a force, into an energy. And you can see, I mean, this probably also fascinates lots of outsiders to see the Chinese retiree community come out to the parks in public squares, like ladies would dance in public squares, loud music, a huge group of them simply enjoy their glamour post their reproductive age. And guys probably in the public park gyms doing some stunts. That's kind of astonishing even to younger people. Like they spend a ton of time training up their body. And that's a way to positively age, I guess. And in that sense, you can see the positivity in there. You can still enjoy a lot of life during that age. And I guess that's the go-go year as the retirement stage categorized as. But the downside, the invisible part, when people don't no longer can come out to the park, and that's the marginal decade, people don't talk. It's invisible. So in the language, it's not been expressed here. And we only choose to see the go-go years of the silver hair group. I know I have family in China, four generation under one roof. And the great grandmother made it to her 90s, and all her children who were in their retiree age already take turns to take care of her. I mean, it's good that she can live that longevity, proven, but the social cost of that is like five children of great grandma take turns to take care of that. And because they are already retirees themselves, so I mean, time-wise, resource-wise, they can afford to, but not all of people can make it into such, right? So especially one-child policy. My parents' generation, how they're going to age gracefully, comfortably, like it's a problem I still have to face. So this silver hair force energy thing is kind of like a propaganda to look at things, choose partial truths and spin it in a positive way. Okay, yin, we have metal on the left side, simply the ground symbol. So the first horizontal line is the ground line, and then we have this tube, kind of a drill getting underground, and then the two nuggets representing the gold material, minerals gathered underground. And then we have the second horizontal line as the indicator to say, okay, this below the ground part is what we're paying attention to. And then the top triangle means gathering. So metal or mineral, the earth, underground, full of it. However, it may not make economic sense to excavate. Only when the density reaches to a certain point, and then it's making economic sense to do so. So this gathering is important to point out, oh, there is a high condensation of this in this region. And so this is the mining ground for that. And Chinese use that to express metal. The right side, eyeball. Oval shape, two horizontal lines is our verticalized eyeball. And then we have a human figure, rightward facing. Took me some time to realize rightward is the wrong word. Chinese default orientation is leftward facing. When we are expressing going forward, we're going toward the left, unlike English. So this rightward means stop, means not moving, because you're not facing the right direction. You're misoriented here. So that means stop. Eyeball, stop. My interpretation, okay, it pronounced as gun. We seldom use that, but it's one of the mystery Chinese characters made it onto the 8 Chinese characters of this bagua. We talked about this a little bit. It's trigram. So it's 2 to the 3rd. Each connected, disconnected, or connected. And then we have 3 rows of that. So that's trigram is a Chinese super simplification and modeling of the world, and try to explain every phenomenon, not only static, but dynamically, how things are going to change through that. And I know it's a wealth of knowledge there. Some may or may not be scientific, right? But that's the way, I guess, at least philosophically, we try to explain things as such. And so this is one of the 8 Chinese characters up there. And to me, I'm going to explain it as stop and stare. Stop and stare. And that paired with the metal image. Metal part means it's the kind of metal that's going to make you stop and stare. What is that? It's silver, because it's universal currency. If you find metal look like silver, you're going to stop and stare. Okay. Hair simply is a human figure. Now, this time it's leftward facing. The reason why I know it's leftward is because this stroke is shorter than this stroke. And so this stroke is supposed to be the limbs of the arms. And then this longer stroke is your legs. And then it's facing toward the left. One big horizontal line simply is, it's not cutting somebody's head off. Okay, it's an indicator to show it's the top. It's like at least above your shoulders, right? It's top of the body. Okay, it gives you the location, and then it gives you the texture of the thing. The texture looks like scales. So it's something that looks like scales, but on top of your body. What is that? It's the hair, because this scaling thing is a microscopic view of the hair. It's a Chinese way to express the texture of the hair. Okay, this Li force, also muscle power, came from the plow or the rake, depends on how how long it is, the thing. It's a essential farming tool and that symbolizes power, muscle power. 量, that is something interesting. I have new interpretation this time. We have a similar looking thing that means weight. Chinese way to express gravity. We have put a human figure on top of that. Human on top of soil, and then at the sunrise time and start to work on stuff, farming supposedly. That's weight imagery, but this is measuring. This means originally means measuring, I guess measuring the weight, possibly. Okay, repeated themes in this one frame. Can you detect? It's this oval shape with horizontal line. But one is positioned here, slightly looking bigger, and one is here. Okay, that is a Chinese sun symbol. The big one is the sun symbol, let's say. Oval shape with horizontal line is energetic ball, and eventually the ball squashed to fit in this frame, right? Proportion doesn't really matter that much, but the structure does. It does have this closure, and horizontal line symbolize energy, heat, light from that ball shape. The sun embedded supposedly of the tree. And then we have the soil symbol, two horizontal lines. First at the ground, second is the indication below the ground. So it's the soil below the ground. And then the top, that's my interpretation, my new discovery this time. Even if it looks exactly like the sun, I would interpret it this time as a grain of rice or whatever crop that humans eat. Because here, Chinese kind of notice the similarity, not just the shape of it, but what essentially that is. Identify that the sun, the energy from the sun, the heat, the light, transformed biologically by plant photosynthesis power, transformed the sun energy into this tiny capsule of energy. That's the grain. And humans use that to take power from the sun, but stored in this plant form. And so this conversion of the sun, this one big life-giving thing, nobody touched, to this edible thing, small, tiny, humble, but life-giving thing. Both are life-giving. It's just one big, huge sun can generate and regenerate millions, billions, gazillions of such tiny little grains. Depends on, I guess, human supply and demand. Okay, so that on top of this scale looking thing is the measuring thing. So Chinese ancient times agrarian society is about growing crops, measuring it so that you can, I guess, make money or pay your tax back then. Measuring that eventually becomes energy. And as I interpreted, the sun and the grain, both of them are energy generating, I mean, energy different in different format, but both are life-giving. Okay, so 银发力量 is simply tsunami, silver tsunamis, Chinese positive spin version. And you can see some stats here. It's a real thing globally. And Chinese have it. 银发力量. Thank you for your time. See you another day.